What's going on, guys? Welcome back to Long's Takes. Today we're going to be talking about something that isn't Dragon Ball for once. We're going to be talking about The Boys. This is going to kind of be just an off the cuff power scaling video, going over how the scaling of the verse kind of ends up at the end of season three that just ended yesterday. So I thought it was a good time to scale a different verse other than Dragon Ball. And I hope you guys maybe can learn a little something about the scaling of the boys verse. If you like videos like this, make sure to leave a comment and tell me maybe what other series you'd like to see me scale. I'm interested in things other than Dragon Ball. But for now, let's get right into it. So to start, Homelander kind of, I'm gonna put him kind of up here in his own tier. Despite the fact that there's a lot of people who are a lot closer to him now than at the start of the series, he's still definitely the strongest person in the verse. Essentially, no one can 1v1 him and win. Um, but he acts kind of like a benchmark for scaling a lot of the other characters. And it really comes down to everyone in A tier are people who essentially aren't going to be one shot by one Homelander. And then once you get lower and lower, it's people who can be killed essentially in one hit by Homelander. Once you get even into B tier, you're talking about characters who almost can't engage Homelander practically in a fight. And then below that, most people in C tier are probably going to be bodied by people in B tier, and so on. Um, and with this cast of characters here, I'm not going to be scaling like Huey's dad, or Frenchie, or like the PR guys, or like Butcher's dad. Like these guys don't do anything. They're normal humans. They're all just gonna go kind of in the F tier. We might end up not needing F tier, but whatever. Um, but so for now, we're gonna move on to Maeve. And if the last episode of The Boys hadn't come out, she would probably be really low A tier or B tier. But she actually, you could arguably, if this was any other verse, and Homelander kind of wasn't like the end all be all, you might honestly have an argument to put her in S tier. But I'd put we're gonna put her in A tier. Because in this last episode here, she does better than anyone's ever done against Homelander in a 1v1. She fucking makes his ear bleed by stabbing into it. She knocks him over several times. She tanks his heat vision and then blocks it with her gauntlets, which is actually a crazy feat. And tanks lots of hits for him. He does gouge her eye out, but she tanks and blocks like a lot of hits from him, which is really really impressive because essentially no one else in the verse can do that. Um, and then following that up, Soldier Boy, I think is essentially the third strongest character in the verse. We see him fight Homelander, but I think he does actually worse than Homelander does in a 1v1. Than Maeve did, because like he was getting choked out and like almost lost like way quicker than she did. She never kind of was put in a situation like that, like Soldier Boy was. But Soldier Boy does have like the power nullification explosion. The only problem with this is that like he's never going to practically land this in a fight, especially in a 1v1, because both times he almost hits Homelander with it. Firstly, he fails, obviously. And secondly, there's always people there either pinning him down, Homelander down. Actually, both times. First time it's Huey and Butcher helping him, and second time it's Butcher and Maeve helping him. So like in a 1v1, he's always just gonna be just eventually overpowered by Homelander. And the fact is Homelander can like fly is like the huge advantage that actually over most people in the verse. Next is A Train. It's kind of weird where to put A Train because like speedsters are always weird to scale, but especially him because he's portrayed as like very very fast every time we see him, but we don't really know if he scales like actually how if he's faster or could even beat any of the high tiers. Because he's only fought like a handful of people, and at least in like a crossverse thing, really the only people he fights is Kimiko. And the problem there is that while she kind of loses that fight, she essentially immediately heals afterwards from that beatdown, and that's really like initially her when she's maybe not at her best. And like I said, she heals immediately afterwards, and then later on she gets like the complete drop on him and like breaks his leg in one hit. So like his like actual physical stats are kind of trash. He also, while having like a heart attack amped by V, I believe he's amped by V at that point. He's able to dodge and then like knock over Starlight, but that's it. Like he doesn't even like hurt her. And later on, we do see that like the two of them are kind of relatives. If you want to, I would argue that she's gotten like a little bit stronger. Um, so most likely, she's in most matchups, Kimiko would just do better than A Train would. Maybe he's stronger now that he has a heart fixed and he's not addicted to V anymore. We have to see. We have not seen him fight since then. Um, but his physical stats are kind of ass. Like I think everyone, especially up here, he's gonna be punching them and it's gonna be doing nothing. These might be too low. They might actually be like C compared to the verse. Yeah, they're probably like C tier. Next is Butcher. We see him fighting like relatively to Soldier Boy against Homelander, and actually does pretty well against him. Again, he's not getting one shot by Homelander. His heat vision's even able to like scorch him. It's hard to tell if it actually like burned his skin, or if it just burned his costume. But regardless, his heat vision is able to cut open Soldier Boy's skin, and they're able to fight for a while. But Soldier Boy by the end seems to have eventually like wins that fight. Um, and I do think this is partially in part why they went from being like essentially exactly relative to each other to like Soldier Boy kind of like beating him pretty badly is like the literal brain rot that the temporary V gives him. So I think I this is mostly headcanon here, but I believe that his initial fight with Homeland with like alongside Soldier Boy, Butcher is stronger than when he fights Soldier Boy later. Not that much stronger or that not that much weaker, but like I think there isn't like a slight difference, which would kind of explain why the fights kind of go the way they do. But still, he's definitely I think the fourth strongest person, which is kind of crazy. That the V amps them like that much, where they go above like essentially like 95% of the characters in the verse, which I guess is maybe the point, but whatever. So next, we're gonna put Black Noir in B tier. Um, Black Noir's a pretty good measurement because he actually does have a lot of fights, and he's actually a good measurement for like if you're this tier or this tier, because even though he's quote you I don't know if you would call it off guard, but like Homelander kind of kills him with ease, like one punches through his stomach. Even though they were like hugging and embraced, it's pretty clear that like Homelander's strength is significantly above Black Noir's. And I know in the comics he's a different character, but for here I think he's like the great measurement for B tier. And he's definitely not C tier because it's portrayed pretty obviously that he's significantly above Kimiko, and takes her down. I think a lot better than A Train does, especially because A Train literally can't tank her hits, but Black Noir like can essentially, and beats her up. I think with more ease. So I think Black Noir is a great place for here. Next is Starlight. She goes below Black Noir. We literally see them fight, and Black Noir kicks her ass pretty badly. Now she can get amped by how many lights there are, and actually when they fight, there's not many lights on. They fight like kind of in the dark. But it's really but like her physical strength and like speed and stuff shouldn't be any higher with more electricity or lights. I don't. It's not exactly clear if it's just like physical lights or if it's like exactly electricity that makes her stronger. But regardless, while like her blasts are actually kind of fodder. Seems like almost every single person she hits with them just kind of knocks them over, or even like just makes them flinch a little bit. Um, but yeah, I think this is actually a good spot. She does get uber amped at the end of the season, but the feat she performs when she blasts Soldier Boy just knocks him over and like dazes him like a little bit, even though like her attacks from before were already kind of just like knocking him like around like a little bit. So like she's barely any stronger despite like how much hype that got. And I think if unless that you think that like literally like blows Black Noir's head off like instantly, um, Black Noir is still winning in a 1v1 because she gets like almost like deep like fatigued and like tired out afterwards. So I don't know. Next is Victoria Neuman. She's kind of weird because it's very obvious she's not physically as strong as anyone in A tier, but she does imply that she could easily kill Starlight. So for now, this is really as high as I can put her because like I think Black Noir could maybe just blitz her by throwing like a knife or something into her head and killing her instantly. Um, Before she can like pop his head, and we even see that like random supers like the guy she fights can like tank like one hit and not die. And we've seen Black Noir actually take some pretty gnarly stuff, like when he fights like the exploding terrorist and his like body gets like charred and blown, and he's like completely fine and like instantly kills the guy. So I think I you could easily like headcanon and say like, oh yeah, she could probably pop these people's heads too if she saw them. We don't know. So like for now, she's also over Starlight, but I don't I don't see her being like physically over Black Noir. Uh, Next is like the super terrorist guy. I don't know if I even want to put him on here. We just know that he's able to like, kind of like I said, kind of harm Black Noir, but like gets physically absolutely annihilated by him. You could make an argument like that's kind of what represents like C tier. So I'll just put him there. His like actual explosion powers are pretty strong, stronger than Starlight. So you can actually make the argument he goes like there or something, because his explosion actually hurts Black Noir, and hers and Starlight's attacks don't. So actually, I think that's actually a perfect place for him. Next is the Deep. The Deep has like not never fought anybody. We're gonna make this Deep tier. Um, he hasn't really fought anybody. He chased the boys in like season 2 with like the animals or something, but I don't think he's ever shown physical feats. I could be completely wrong. But I think A Train's blitzing him, and I think just everyone else is beating him up. That's kind of the point of the Deep. He kind of sucks. um, but next is Huey. Um, we only see like one physical feat from Huey. Well, I guess two. But he definitely goes in the A tier as well. One, he has like a he actually has a better speed feat than Maeve. Because Maeve gets hit like kind of by Homelander's heat vision and only reacts to it like after it's already hit her. It like hits her and then she holds up her arm to block it. Um, oh, also if that's another argument for Maeve over Soldier Boy, she I don't think she gets visibly cut by Homelander's heat vision. While Soldier Boy gets cut by Billy's, and their heat visions are like equal to each other. So that's another argument for why like she beats him. If you want to argue that like oh maybe they were physically like kind of on the same tier, well they are, but like Maeve's over. So for Huey, he teleports and like literally reacts to Homelander's heat vision. And then when he lands a punch on him, it actually like fully staggers Homelander. I think he's the worst, obviously the worst fighter in this tier, because this tier is also like you can think of it as like Supes who can fight. I mean, Black Noir can too, but like Supes who can actually fight. Um, Huey can't really fight, but like even staggering Homelander is more impressive than anything these guys have done. So he goes here. Next is Ryan. Um, Ryan's kind of weird because I mean he's a kid. He gets obviously bodied by Soldier Boy. Literally can't be over him. But his heat vision is actually able to knock him over too. Um, so I think Ryan actually could arguably go at the very bottom of A tier. Again, it's a tier where you can like kind of stagger home like this level characters. So if you want to say his heat vision can like stagger him, and he's also able to absolutely annihilate Stormfront. We'll get Stormfront there. I think she's the top of B tier, maybe bottom of A tier. The reason I say that is because Starlight's blasts are able to like knock Black Noir like completely off his feet and into the air, and Starlight's blast can't really do that to Stormfront. Actually, yeah, we'll put him at the put her at the top of A. Yeah, she just performs better against Starlight than Black Noir does. At least in like the tanking her blasts department. Again, then weirdly though, she's like in a field there. Like how much electricity? It's kind of weird to scale like how strong Starlight is at any time. But she's definitely physically above like um she's definitely physically above Starlight. But by to what degree we don't really know. The problem is Stormfront's weird. She might honestly Stormfront might honestly yeah, you can put her top of B. Because the problem is that like everyone in this tier is kind of beating her up. Um yeah, because like she gets absolutely destroyed. I did kind of make up this argument. I'm not sure like how valid it is. But like Ryan's heat vision when he hits Soldier Boy seems to be like way weaker than what it was when it hit Stormfront. Because when he's using against Stormfront, there's a whole flashed away, and then like the whole area is like well, there's a whole area around her body that's fucked up. When he uses against Soldier Boy, it's just like one like short beam. So if you want to argue he used a stronger attack against Stormfront, then Stormfront definitely goes in this tier. Um, but I don't know. I think it's better if it looks like this. And it's just like that. Annie is like the very bottom of B, maybe even on top of C, but like fully amped, she might be here. I don't know. Tell me what you guys think. Um, There's translucent. Uh, translucent probably is F tier. Um, you can put him in deep tier if you want, but like even though he is like invincible, whatever, like physically he is has like almost no physical strength enhancements like relative to how strong these people are. Like he freaking gets beat up by like Base Butcher in like the first episode, which is really funny. Um, but like with how the verse goes later, but yeah, he really kind of sucks. I think if we're going by like standard battle assumptions, and I believe he gets like knocked out by stuff. So like I think everyone here can knock him out. Maybe not the deep again. Two, one guy with bad scaling, one guy with no scaling. Do with that what you will. Um, I forget. I think this guy Kenji. This guy was the guy who knew Kimiko from season two. Yeah, and I haven't watched season two in a while. He's obviously weaker than Stormfront. But he honestly might go right there, because he's a crazy feat against Homelander, like fully knocking him down and hitting him with attack before he can react. And when he pulls the whole like ceiling of like the subway station or like the sewage tunnels or whatever on top of Homelander. But the problem is that like his strength is due to he gets completely overpowered by Stormfront, and Black Noir, and all these guys don't have feats like that. So I think he's fine going there. Like this guy's like the glass cannon of the verse. Um, and then I think that's pretty much it. You got like this guy that A Train raced, but he's like implied to be slower, so he just goes there. There's the superpowered like psych ward patient. I don't remember her fighting anybody. I could be wrong. I don't know if she ever interacts with like a real suit. Same thing with Lamplighter. This guy really sucks because I believe he gets his hand cut off or he gets hurt some way by Hughie, which I guess would put him like all the way like an F tier too, if he's getting hurt by normal people. And then Sonic Boom, whatever he was called. This guy has no feats. He gets murdered by Homelander. Wow, surprise, surprise. And then some of these characters I don't even remember. But yeah, I think that's most of it. So yeah, this is pretty much my my tier list for the boys. If you want to see more stuff like this, let me know. And I'll see you guys in the next one.